Summer sun can be a death sentence for your fish. So as your tank water heats up, the biggest mistake you can make is to do nothing. But don't just guess. A sudden temperature drop can be just as deadly as the heat itself. Here are 5 proven ways to safely cool your aquarium before it's too late. First thing, and it's totally free, and it's the foundation of pretty much everything, is just play on the defensive. Stop the heat before it ever gets to your tank. What's the biggest culprit to heat up your tank? The sun. So if your tank is near a window and it gets blasted with the heat all day, the simple fix here is just close your blinds, close the curtains, block the direct sunlight. Next, look at your gear. Your light may be a major source of heat and you don't even know it. High-end LEDs run cooler than others, but they can still pump out heat. If you're using old incandescent bulbs or halogen bulbs, those things are mini space heaters over your water. The quick fix here is just turn your lights off, cut back on the hours. Your plants can handle a day or two without heat if you're in the middle of a heat wave. If you're not in the middle of a heat wave, there's another solution we're going to talk about in a second here, because your fish might not be able to handle the heat wave, whereas your plants can. Those of you that just happen to be living in the middle of hell somewhere in the desert, the pro move here is just do a reverse light schedule, which is just to run your lights at night when your house is cooler and keep them off during the hot parts of the day. Pretty simple. Now, if you're like me and all your fish tanks are in your room, you unfortunately probably won't be able to sleep at night. But if your fish tanks are in the living room or communal spaces or a fish room, this 100% will work for you. We can just kind of reverse the lighting here. I could get away with not having my lights on for a few days because I do get natural sunlight in my room, so my plants would be okay. You could also just cut back on how long your lights are on. If you're used to running your lights 6 to 8, some people 10 hours a day, just cut it back to 4. Turn them on first thing in the morning, go from 8 to 12, or turn them on after dinner time, go from 6 to 10. That way you're doing it when the heat is not as intense. You're doing it when the sun is first coming out, or you're doing it when the sun is going down and your house is going to be a little bit cooler. Last thing you can do that's not going to cost you anything, do a quick scan of your room. If your tank is next to something that's pumping out heat, like a computer or a video game console or some other appliance that's going to pump out heat in a smaller room, maybe move it. Move it to a cooler spot of your room if you can, because every degree here can stop your water from getting to a dangerous level where you have a bitter fight on your hand. Why is this whole debate about heat so critical? Well, fish don't really regulate their own body temperature. As the water gets hotter, their metabolisms skyrocket and they're going to demand a lot more oxygen. Here's the crisis. Warmer water holds significantly less oxygen than colder water. So your fish are going to be most likely gasping in the water looking for what they can't naturally find because your water is just too hot. This heat's going to put everything into overdrive. Your waste breaks down faster. Your good bacteria can't fight it off as fast and will die. It's going to lead to ammonia and nitrite spikes. For most tropical fish, we keep our tanks at 72 to 80 Fahrenheit, which is the sweet spot. Once you push that into the mid 80s, you're in danger zone for most tropical fish. I'm not talking about you discus keepers or African cichlid keepers that are naturally going to keep in water. I'm talking about people keeping tetras, guppies, mollies, more what we consider more community tropical fish here. Temperature stability is a big important thing here. And if you want to know more, you can stick around till the end of the video and see how I nearly lost $400 in fish from something as simple as a temperature drop. Use science to your advantage. Anyone remember the water cycle? This can be the simple, most effective way to cool your tank without buying an expensive chiller. It's time to weaponize science in the evaporation process. It works just like sweat. When water evaporates, it pulls heat with it. First, let the water evaporate. If you have a glass or plastic lid, take it off. Unless you have jumpers, then please leave it on. It's trapping heat and turning your aquarium into like a greenhouse. If you have fish that jump, you can simply put a mesh screen or something over the top. I've used saran wrap with some holes poked in it and just get you some airflow through your tank. In a pinch, you could also just lower your water level a few inches and that'll create more of a flow as well. Step 2, to increase this process even more, get a small fan, something that's a small desk fan, a USB fan that's going to blow on the surface of the water. That moving air supercharges evaporation. It's going to pull the heat right out of your tank. And this combo of evaporation plus a fan can actually drop your water temperature by several degrees. And it's a classic trick for a reason. Just remember, all this evaporation does mean you'll need to top your tank off with more water. If you are looking for more practical fish keeping tips like this, please remember to subscribe, because it is the best way that you don't miss any future fish keeping videos and tips. I'm also curious, what is the highest temperature your tank has ever reached during a heat wave in the summer? Please let me know in the comments down below. Why can't I just use ice, you may be asking yourself? Well, everyone thinks of using ice, but most people may forget forget that dumping ice directly into our tanks is a terrible idea. Well, firstly, you're probably putting chlorinated tap water ice cubes in your tank. It's not like you're putting dechlorinator in your ice maker. The loose ice is going to create a shocking, uncontrollable temperature drop that can stress your fish out and actually make them sick. Remember, stability is everything here, so we're trying to avoid a rapid change in temperature. Plus, the ice can be melting at different rates, so you'll have cold spots here, warm spots here. Your fish will be all confused. Your fish could be bumping into them. It's just not a good time. Don't put ice in your tank. Here's how you can correctly use frozen water to cool your tanks down. Get a bottle of water, and fill it about 50 to 80%, not all the way. Freeze it. Now you're going to float those in your tank, and the cold will slowly radiate down and be more of a gentle temperature drop. Because it's a bigger volume, it's going to melt or release the cold air much more evenly than just having floating ice cubes in your tank. The goal here is to reduce your temperature no more than a couple of degrees every hour, because remember, we're looking for stability. This is an emergency method, it's not a permanent fix, but if you use frozen water to your advantage, it can be a lifesaver. This next one's not really a hack or thing per se, because it doesn't really cool the water, but it helps fight the number one killer during a heat wave, which is that lack of oxygen. If you aggressively boost the agitation, you can help your fish ride out this heat wave better. As we've learned, hot water holds less oxygen, so you're going to want to create more surface agitation. If you're using a fan, that does the trick a little bit, but not the same as breaking at the top. So air stone, you're going to want to crank those up full blast, get more surface agitation breaking to add a little more oxygen back in your tank. If you have a canister filter, point the spray bar up a couple to create some more ripples on the tank. If you have a hang on the back filter, lower the water level by an inch and kind of make a waterfall type motion in your tank, and that's going to create that nice airflow and keep things circulating better. If you have power heads, point them up more toward the top to again break the surface tension. It's all about breaking surface tension. You also want to reduce the demand for oxygen. What's the easiest way to do this? Cut back on feeding. Your fish's metabolism is in overdrive anyway. They don't need bigger meals when they're eating that much, so less food also means less waste produced. So it's a two-parter here. More oxygen, less demand for it, and it's a very powerful strategy. And remember, our fish can go several days without eating. Last method is just to be preventative. Have a crisis plan in place. Be ready for this. Look for warning signs. How can you do that? The best way to handle an overheating emergency is to make sure it doesn't happen in the first place. Get a reliable thermometer. Get a couple reliable thermometers. They sell thermometers now that you can set an alarm that hooks up to your smartphone to warn you if the temperature is encroaching to dangerous levels. If you can't get that, the cheapest way is get the stick-on one. Get the old school thermometers that stick on the side of the tank. Have some way to notice when your temperature is going up. Second is to have an emergency kit ready to go when the heat hits. That means having a dedicated clip-on fan, having some water bottles ready to go in your freezer, have a small battery-powered air pump ready to go. And power outages often happen during the summer, especially in places where the grids are taxed from air conditioners or charging cars. So you're going to want to have that emergency kit ready anyway, and a battery-powered air pump could save your entire tank. Now, this also will bring us to the ultimate set it and forget it solution, an aquarium chiller. It's an investment up front. It's basically a mini refrigerator for your tank. You set the temperature and it stays there. It doesn't fluctuate. If you live somewhere that's always hot and you have more sensitive animals like axolotls, a chiller could be a luxury item that becomes a necessity for you. Do I recommend spending the money on them? Not really, because even here, the heat waves don't usually last forever, and most people have air conditioners anyway. I wouldn't recommend getting one personally, but it's just out there for people that are looking for an ironclad solution. Mastering these 5 things can save your tank in the middle of heat waves or even when your power goes out. Now, the ultimate test of your skill doesn't happen during the heat wave. It does happen during those blackouts. That is when a stable tank could crash. And again, I learned that lesson the hard way with hundreds of dollars of fish on the line. The only thing that saved them was being prepared and having a plan in place. I'll link videos to that, and I'll also link a power outage guide here as well. Learn these critical steps to help take care of your fish when there's a power outage or even when your heat goes up. Now it's your turn. I want to hear your best tips for fighting the heat or power outages. Leave them in the comments below because your tricks may save someone else's fish's life. If you found this video helpful, please remember to hit subscribe so you don't miss any future fish keeping tip videos, and hit the like button if you enjoyed it as well. Make sure to share it with friends if you think it could be useful to other people. And as always, I'll see you guys in the next one.